Welcome, 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 my friends, wherever in the world you are. Today we're talking about something that catches a lot of people out, the timing of your move to Spain, and especially how it can affect your tax position. On Friday, we covered the basics of when you actually become tax resident in Spain. And many people are surprised to learn it's not always as simple as I moved in this month, so tax starts then. There's more to it than that. As always, it depends. Depending on when you become a tax resident, it can affect things like future capital gains, property sales, and your overall tax exposure. And if you're planning your move around a visa, especially the non-lucrative visa, delays or timing shifts can change that timeline more than you might expect. So today we're going to go deeper. How to plan properly, what to watch out for, and how to avoid falling into what many people call the capital gains trap. Dun, dun, dun. And of course, joining me as always is Chris from Upsticks to Spain, who helps people navigate these timelines every single day and does it very well indeed. We'll help you all the way through so you can do the Spain thing too. You're very welcome to YouTooSpain. Listen out, here's the theme. Hold on to your hats. Oh, it gets me every time. So groovy. And speaking of groovy, let's welcome Chris from Upsticks. Hola, matey. How do you do? You've not got your mic ready.
Monday madness, as usual. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. You know what? When we started doing this program about 5 years ago, we'd be at our desks ready in front of the microphones about an hour before the show, getting ready and preparing and having it. I'd get out my paperwork and be nervous and getting about. Now we kind of we just turn up about 2 minutes before and go, right, we're on.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's what they do in newsrooms as well. They're just about to they sit down and it goes and the music comes on and that's it.
absolutely. I think it's I think we're I'm terrible on my Wednesday show as well with it. I literally love it. Oh, it's 5 to 6. I need to but it's good.
Yes.
What happened? Que sera? What happened? Say?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, and we can laugh about it now and not feel pressurized.
No.
So have you got any shout outs for today?
Oh, shout out to the 17 people that I met today. Hang on a minute. 17 people. We had amongst others, I always forget to ask people if I'm allowed to say their name. I know there's a few people.
I think it'd be all right.
It'd be all right. So
people have got the same name as other people, so
that's right. Yeah. Okay. Well, I met the Smiths then. So I did actually meet the Smiths. I got the same name as a lot of people. But now Christine Allen, sort of Barry, Leslie, Elizabeth, Michael, Peter. They've been on the TV. They're on what's that?
New Place in the Sun? No,
something like that.
New Life in the Sun.
Yeah. Anne and Alan, how you doing there, guys? Saw you, give them a shout. I know they watch your channel. So Karen, I saw Terry. I don't know if you ever heard of Terry O'Shaughnessy, the singer.
Terry O'Shaughnessy. No, it rings a bell, but then again, there's loads of O'Shaughnessy's in Ireland, and I live there, so yeah, I don't know.
Great guy. He's got a new album out soon. I'll give him your contact actually because he's going to do a podcast in his residency. David, Lorraine, Jeanette, Haley, good to see you all this morning. I'm getting out to more appointments, seeing more people, and I'm really enjoying it, to be honest.
Fabulous. Yeah, you do like that bit, don't you? Get out from behind that desk.
Yes, yeah. It doesn't help the email pile when you get back, but yes.
What you need is some of those 500,000 immigrants to answer your emails for you.
Yes, that's what I do. Yes, yeah, that's what I need.
Brilliant. Let's see who we've got on the live chat then. Alexander Ballantyne. I like the name Ballantyne. That's lovely. It's quite Scottish, isn't it? Good afternoon, gents.
Very popular whiskey in Spain.
Ballantyne's. Yes, it is, isn't it? I think my mother-in-law got me a bottle of that, and she's arriving in maybe 2 or 3 weeks. So great. Her and Oscar. Oscar's actually flying over from Ireland to England and then picking her up and then getting on a plane to Spain. So that's going to be good. And Steve Moffat.
Where's he flying from? We could have sent in my mum as well.
Yeah, anybody with a mum, send them down to. I'm not sure where he's flying from. Probably it'll be either East Midlands or Birmingham. Probably.
If he ever goes from Stansted, give us a shout. So I might get him to pick up my mum at the same time.
Yeah, it's a bit far, that one. They sometimes go from Luton because it's an hour away from Leicester. But the easiest easiest and quickest is East Midlands, but it's only a small place. That anyway. So Steve Moffat, hello, and Anton Kez are there. Hola, Scats and Chris and Todos, and Patrick Connell from all over in Bolivia. Yoo-hoo, you too. And Kez is winging it, yeah. Absolutely, yes, we wing it more than ever. So, yeah, a couple of quick mentions then, as normal, before we dive into the topic. Don't miss my radio show. Have any of you tuned in to the radio show? It's a bit sort of desert island discs style format. Only I interview musicians, and they choose their top 10 favorite tracks, or tracks that mean something to them, tracks that have a sort of a timeline or whatever, and I ask some really bizarre questions that are designed to get to the very heart and soul of them. It's really good, and I've got a crazy eccentric man on this Friday's show. This is 10 o'clock till midday, and it's repeated on Wednesday afternoons, the following Wednesday afternoon, from 1 till 3 p.m. So this Wednesday is a repeat of last Friday's, which is actually a repeat of one I did last year. And that is Jason Lawless. He's very interesting. He's a Scottish singer who works on he works on aeroplanes, not the pilot, the other people that go up and down the aisle. Yeah, he's one of them. And there's a link below to nerkagoldradio.com where you can listen live from anywhere in the world. And don't forget the other YouTube channel of mine, relaxation videos and music. It's starting to build. It's called Still Space Journeys. It's the perfect place to get your lovely music. If you need to focus, for example, when you're working, they're really good to put on in the background. Or if you can't get to sleep, they're perfect for that. They're either 8 or 10 hours long, those ones, so you can put them on overnight, and the visuals just sort of fade out to darkness after about an hour, so it doesn't keep on lighting up your bedroom. So they're really good. And there's some shorter ones for meditation. There we go. So use the link below to subscribe to that. That would be very handy. The more people that subscribe, the more people get to see that they are there, and that's lovely, and we can help lots of people. So jolly good. We've got Trudy Ray, who's just joined us. Hello, Chris and Scats from the UK. Nice to have you online. And right, so on Friday's video, I did a brief explanation of when you become a tax resident in Spain. But give us a quick summary of that for people who've not watched that video yet, Chris.
What, you mean like me?
Yeah. It's all right. I don't get a chance to watch yours now either. I should just put it on in the background sometime. But...
should have really watched that for doing this one, should I? I think
yeah. Well, yeah, I think you know it anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, the tax year, obviously, the biggest problem sometimes we have is we're explaining to people about the tax years in the UK and in Spain and the difference between them. Obviously, as we said, you've got to get some qualified tax advice if you need it, but everybody knows that in Spain the tax year starts on the 1st of January, it ends on the 31st of December. So any year that you are physically in Spain for more than 183 days during that period would make you a fiscal resident in Spain. That gets a bit confusing for people who are wrapping up their affairs in an April to April tax year from the UK.
Yeah.
And hence why here, this time of year, we get an awful lot of people trying to judge visa applications with coming in as close as possible to that 183-day limit this year.
Mm-hmm. So, yes. 183 days. So there are other rules about it as well, like whether you've got family in Spain, whether your main business is in Spain, or your vital interests are in Spain, and that can mean that if your family are living here but you're working elsewhere, mm-hmm. you still get taxed in Spain.
Yeah, that's definitely so. I mean, again, demographic clients we're normally dealing with, we don't normally get that, but we have had it recently where we've identified a few cases where people have actually had families, especially within the withdrawal agreement, families who are living here and maybe a parent, the mother or the father, for example, works and lives away, okay, but then visits Spain, for less than 183 days, but their whole basic fiscal setup and the family who are reliant on them actually live here in Spain. So they believe that they're not fiscally resident here because they don't physically spend the days, but as you say, their center of economic activity is actually here.
So yes, there's quite a lot of it depends. So as Chris said not very long ago, we're not tax advisors, so to make sure, do check get some pro advice from people like Antonio the Hestor or Lucia, who is a bit of an expert on this. She's the financial advisor.
You definitely need to, obviously we're talking now, I think today, more about the people who are judging their days to make sure, and there's a few mistakes that people make, like not thinking that before you're a resident those days don't count and stuff like that. But definitely, if there's any sort of doubt, then regarding your center of economic activity, you do need to consult a tax advisor on that one.
And there's the thing as well, once you become a resident, people sometimes think, well, if I've arrived just before like the start of July or something, which means you're in the first half of the year, and there's more than 183 days coming up. Some people think, oh, well, if I leave for a couple of weeks after I become a resident, if I go away, or I go away for a month, then I'll be all right because you can knock that off the total. But actually that doesn't work, because once you're a resident, you are classed as living there for all of that period, all the way to the end of the year.
Yeah, so that's the two biggest mistakes. And then like obviously taking into account any day. So if you're looking at a visa NLV timeline, for example, if you're looking at coming at the middle of the year, not spending 183 days, but you came on a discovery trip for 2 weeks in March, for example, those 2 weeks are going to have to be added to the date which you are looking to come in, so you don't physically spend those 183 days. Then once you're registered here and you've got your TIE card, if you have spent over or going to spend over 183 days, you can't then just leave for 2 weeks and say I wasn't actually here, because then you're already registered as a resident here.
Yes. Good.
There will be tax advisors who would argue that point. I've heard
Hester's argue against me for that. Yeah.
I've heard it on YouTube quite a bit. I listen to a lot of YouTube because what other people, the thing is about tax as well, tax advice is a little bit like visa advice, where it is also down to the opinion of the person who's helping you as well, and how they interpret the law. I'm pretty sure that there'd probably be, for example, we would have 2 NLV renewal files. I would prepare it one way, get it approved. Maybe somebody would prepare it a different way and still get it approved. You know what I mean? In tax, I've heard the argument, especially on YouTube, between I listen to a lot of Spanish YouTube channels, and they'd be going, no, the day doesn't count, and it does count. Now, just be safe. The answer is, if you think it's going to count, or don't, just judge your days as that. Every physical days in Spain and every day after being a resident, and then you'll never have a problem.
Yeah, and if you read the wording of the law, it's quite clear that it means every day of that year, even if it's just a holiday. Yeah. So, yeah, but yeah, as you say, it's a lot of interpretation in Spain. Always happens with all of the stuff that we talk about, doesn't it? There we go. Okay, so first question then. Tell us why it's important to know this, basically, if you're planning to move here, and especially if you're doing that on a visa like the non-lucrative visa, which you specialise in, or selling your property before you move.
Yeah, so the main thing is obviously we have an awful lot of people who, a year's not a very long time. And you have to look at the points of uncertainty. So the biggest uncertain thing is if you are selling the property is when it's going to sell. So if you're looking at selling the property and you qualify for capital gains, because not everybody, depending on your age, it qualifies to actually have to pay capital gains. Bear in mind that fiscal residency also includes everything else. It's not just the capital gains tax. It could be income tax, etc. But let's talk about capital gains from a property standpoint. If you're going to make a capital gain on a property, you would qualify to pay it if you spent more than 183 days in Spain. When do you put your property up for sale? And really, a lot of people mistakenly think, well, if I sell it in November, for example, I can't move over until I've sold it. No, you could actually, if you had someone doing the paperwork, move over before. But it's assessing that risk of if the property didn't actually sell and goes into the following year, and you've then done all your paperwork to get a visa and entered Spain, you're suddenly going to have that capital gain. So how do you juggle those balls to get it right? Mm-hmm. The first thing we always say is look at the the liability. So there's a cost liability that if you had to say stop the visa application in its tracks, so your cost, if you were, say, for example, I've literally spoken to somebody today about it. They said, well, I'm going to put my property up for sale now. And I said, okay, we're in February. What is the market like in your area? Have you spoken to many estate agents? What's their estimate as to when it will go? And they said, well, the estimate is 3 to 5 months, the normal selling time. But where they're selling, it generally tends to be younger people. Younger people attract a chain sometimes and more liabilities, where there's properties which would attract maybe more investors who come with cash, So that's all questions and conversations I have with people. And then it's okay, we put that into a timeline in terms of when to start your visa, because you've always got to look at if it is your property, where you're going to live if you sell it. A lot of people go with families, go to temporary accommodation. And then how far can we push those boundaries of ordering paperwork to when we've got a guaranteed sale on the property before you go to your appointment to apply for the visa, which then we have to look at where you're going, because Manchester, London, Edinburgh are all different.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. So you've got all the house bit, and then you've got the visa bit, and they've all got their different little traps that can extend the length of time that they take, really.
Yeah, and what you can do is, so what I've decided today with one client is they said, look, the house is going to take anything 3 to 5 months. That puts us within this year's window. Yeah. And they're going to Manchester, which we know is, let's call it a 3-month application. We've seen them come out in 8 weeks now. We've seen them come out in 15 weeks, but let's call it 3 months. So you can check the timeline on that. So they're looking at coming at the end of the year, and they've only spent a week in Spain. So I said, look, okay, we're looking at we could get the paperwork started now. Yeah, so we can order, because there's a 3-month validity on the medical certificates, the marriage certificate, 6 months on the acro. So, buying acros, 65 quid each, medical certificate with a Spanish with the translation and an apostille, you're probably looking at 150 quid each. Then the apostille on the acro, then you've got a marriage certificate if you got married in the UK, needs apostille in translating. More or less, you're looking at probably £500 liability to get that stuff prepared. That stuff is going to be valid for 3 months, or the acro is more, but if you order it all now, let's call it 3 months. Get a quote for your health insurance, but don't pay it, because that would be a disaster. Go through this preparation process, and then in 8 to 10 weeks we make the assessment, say, how's the house sale going? If it's all looking like it's going well, and you're there at that point of signing or whatever, then you can crack on with your visa, which means then the liability of the healthcare and paying £570 each at BLS. Or you may say, actually, does it look like it's going to go this year? The chains collapsed. They found a hole in the roof. We've got termites. We're going to have to pull the plug on this. Well, you've lost that £500 for the documents, because they will expire, but you haven't got that capital gain, have you?
Yeah. So you wouldn't actually have to get the translations done again if that was a lot of the cost. But it's the apostilles, isn't it?
I mean, to be honest with you, you can, and then you look at the timeline of how far you go when you're doing stuff. So the ordering of documents is the first thing, so that takes the longest, up to 20 working days for the ACRE. Marriage certificates can take a while. Medical certificate, not that much. So we would probably do now for somebody, the marriage certificate and ACRE, when they arrive, have a chat about the house sale, say, how's it looking? I don't know. Okay, do you know what? We're going to push the rest of the documents back a bit because medical certificate will come through quite quickly. And the translations will be the last thing we do anyway, because they're 2 or 3 day turnaround. So
okay.
Yeah, the lawyers super quicker we work with. So it's about weighing up those liabilities with, and there's no fixed answers. It's about having that conversation, being frank and saying, where are we now? It can be managed.
Well, that's great. Okay, by the way, viewers, don't forget to check out Chris's Upsticks website and YouTube channel as well. The links are, as always, in the video description below, and I usually put them and pin them to the top of the comments as well, so you can find them easier. And there's a live update on his YouTube channel every Wednesday evening at 6 p.m. Spanish time. Everything's at 6 p.m. Spanish time, and that's a good fun program, and you might be lucky to have me on as a guest.
When are you coming on again? I haven't had you on for ages.
Well, it's got to be soon, hasn't it? It's been over a month now, I think.
Yeah,
I can't remember when the last one was.
Before Christmas.
No, I think I've done one in January. But it might have been very early on. It might have been the first one. Oh, no, it was the 100th show, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, have I done one since that? When was that?
I think so. I'm on 107 now.
Okay. Yeah, well, let's get it sorted.
Yeah.
Yes. But ask your PA. Ask your PA to contact my PA. Brilliant. And also, yes, I'm going to pass on greetings from one of my regular expert guests who was on the show. Was it last Monday? No, you were on last Monday, 2 weeks ago. She's still extending her special offer to watchers of this show. We'll see how long that goes on for. It's lovely of her, and I'll play the video again because it's only about 30 seconds long, and it tells you all about it. Here we go. Amazing. It's not often you get free stuff from a lawyer, is it? So that's wonderful.
Teresa's great. She did all our due diligence when we bought property, and she was fantastic.
Yeah,
really
brilliant.
Really on the ball.
So Teresa's details, of course, are in the video description, and it'll pin to the top of the comments as well, so you can contact her directly about that. And there's a comment there that I've not picked up on yet. Judith Robinson says, hi Chris, is a bit off topic. We've been looking at Padron appointments on Orihuela Costa, however nothing until June. That's quite long, isn't it? And excuse me, and they're entering Spain on the NLV this Wednesday. Will this be a problem? It's going to be a bit tight, isn't it?
Yeah, now that is why would it be a problem not having the Orihuela Costa's town? First thing is look at Orihuela town, because there you can choose between the town and the Costa. Generally, the town hall in the town is a lot quicker, so you can get appointments there sooner. So look at the town rather than the coast. And then you've got the point that if you cannot get a Padron, can you A, register your visa, and can you B, register your healthcare? Without a Padron, you can't register the S1. So you wouldn't be able to register the S1 until you get your Padron. In terms of registering your visa, it will very much depend on what your current registration is with the police. So if this is your first time getting an NLV and you use the address which you're going to actually be registering at on the Padron as part of your application, you've never had an NIE number before, and that's the only address they've got, and you applied in Alicante, then Alicante are actually pretty good for first time visa applicants who are registering for the first time in Spain, let them just prove where they live with other means and get their visa registered. Partly for these reasons. So if you're, should we say, got a clean registration with them, there's no previous address registered, you've only got the address from the NLV, from the application forms, and when you go, your application forms match that address on their computer. They're pretty lenient in Alicante about actually letting you register and get your TIE card. They'll let you do it. The problem comes if, when you go and sit down at the police station, say, for example, this happened to us the other day, say you got an NIE number 3 years ago and you had a lawyer get the NIE number for you. At that point, you didn't have an address in Spain. It's quite possible the lawyer would have used their address, okay, because they have to provide an address for the NIE. So when you sit down to register your visa, the person behind the desk looks at the computer and says, oh, well, it says here that your address is Denia, and you have put in your application forms Benidorm. Well, you'd obviously, so now we've got to update this address. How do we update it? We need proof of this address. The proof is the Padron.
Aha. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I hope that answers your question, Judith. Lovely. And Adiba Twig Organic Wellness. Great. You'll be wanting the Still Space Journey videos, won't you? That'll be wonderful for you. Anyway, at what age are we exempt from capital gains taxes? Is it 65 or retirement age in the UK?
That's state pension age, isn't it? It's state pension age. They always check that out with a tax advisor, but as far as I'm aware, it's state pension. So the moment you get your state pension, you're exempt from capital gains. Okay.
Excellent. Okay, let's continue. Let's talk. Well, we've been talking about timing, but we may have answered this one already. What can affect your property sale and move dates, and how does knowing this help you to time your visa process? You've got a particular way of putting it on some kind of graph and moving things about, haven't you?
Yeah. So we look at we sort of have a 6 to 8 week preparation time. Okay, which we would, if, for example, if we've got a client who is, want of a better word, digitally challenged, who would need more assistance. That's true, though. You get people who need more assistance to get things over the line, like forms being filled out and stuff like that. We have a lot of clients who we have like digital buddies from, family members and stuff like that. It's normal, it's like, it's a little bit like you or me looking at one of the computer games that my son watches. It's like we have 2D brains. Mine was Mario Brothers. He only went that way.
Yeah.
Whereas computer games now are 3D. They make me feel sick, let alone anything else, Our brains can't comprehend it. Well, the problem is when you're dealing with people who haven't really been using digital devices and stuff their whole life. We've got so many clients who've never had a computer. They've gone straight.
Wow.
So straight to phone. Well, my mum went straight to phone. So those kind of applications will normally expand the preparation time a bit, because it's going to take longer. Then sometimes we'll get people who say, oh, your preparation time is going to be like 6 weeks because you're going to do this, and this today. Okay, so we have that, which is our variable. And then we have the application time, which depends on which consulate you're going through, to where we set that, knowing that's a variable as well. Then it's your move time afterwards. Okay, bear in mind that's now been extended because the visa is now issued for 365 days.
Do you do all that? Do you do it on a spreadsheet, and when you move one date, everything else sort of falls into place, or is it all done with pins on the board or something?
It's all done on our CRM. So it's all done on the CRM. So we have it all structured on the CRM, and it just moves. I would love to get like an algorithm where you could sort of do that and it moves everything else. I need to ask ChatGPT to build me a program, really, don't I?
It should be fairly easy.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah, we normally have it all. And that's what we discuss on our first call. So when we have the first call with people, just to qualify people to make sure that they can apply, and then we chat about the service we offer, then we skirt over everything. But then when we have the first call, we sit down and go, okay, right, so what's our bullet points? What's happened since we last spoke? Oh, actually, my sister's buying a house and she's a cash buyer, so it's great, we can crack on. Or, as I say, found a leak in the roof and it's going to push the whole thing back and a sort of a grayscale towards the end of the year. So how do we reduce those liabilities, of financial expenditure on documents and stuff?
So you're answering the next question already. You were talking about the timeline. So let's see if there's anything to add to this. The question is, what would be your timeline if you're moving here on a non-lucrative visa? Let's go. How far ahead would you start the planning? When to set the ball rolling? Obvious date or obstacles, and you've gone through a few of these. Is there a perfect month to start the process? Bearing in mind you want to, if you're selling your house, for example, and you want to avoid capital gains tax, is there a particular month?
Probably, but to be honest, probably around now. So let's use Manchester Consulate as a typical, because they typically take the 3-month application time. And also, again, another one of the variables is what you plan to do when you actually arrive to Spain. So again, conversation I had today, our clients pretty convinced that their house is going to sell this year. They'll be very shocked if it doesn't. And they understand the liabilities of cracking on, and they do have somewhere to stay in the UK if the house sells quickly. Yeah. So we've said, right, brilliant. That's fantastic. We're going to crack on then. So we're cracking on from the 1st of March with the paperwork. So let's call it a 6 to 8 week preparation time. Yeah. That's by the time you got your apostilles, everything else. That allows also for health insurance quotes. Then suddenly they come back and go, oh, we're not going to cover that. Oh, I want to go with a different company. All these things happen, So that would put us at a 1st of March, 1st of May sort of folder in hand, prepared to go to the consulate. Yeah. So at that point, if we've got quite a bit of flexibility with the documents, if you started ordering about the beginning of March, they don't come through for a while. So you're looking at the documents coming in the middle of March. The earliest one expiring 3 months. That's March, April, May, June. So potentially you could be at the beginning of May ready to go, but with that flexibility on the timeline of the documents to choose go all the way up to June. At that point, we sort of do an assessment on how the house sale is going and whether it's time to pull the trigger on healthcare and actually go into the appointment. Yeah? From there, it's okay. Well, I've had my appointment. Let's call it mid-May. Okay, so you got May, so it's mid-May, so it's mid-June, mid-July, mid-August. Okay, to get the visa. We all know what happens in August. Let's be very cautious and say you're not going to get your visa until September. Okay, which means that you're way past the capital gains window, and September, as we know, is a better month to move to Spain than August. Yeah. If you're planning to come in July, it'll be capital gains window plus 2 days, then you really want to be bringing that whole timeline forward, because we're at that point now where July, you want to be putting your applications into Manchester probably the end of next month, latest.
Yes, indeed. There's a message down here which I do not understand. Is this careful with the bait and switch CPG? What's all that about? Discount it first, sure, then she upped the price mid-contract because difficult to call between countries. Do you understand any of that?
I think that's to do with Charisse.
CPG. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Righto. There we go. Right then, while you're here, chaps, don't forget, buy scats of coffee, hover over that, and if you can't hover over that because you're using your phone and watching on your phone, then there's a super link in the video description below and at the top of the comments. And if you learned something of value to you today, or if you've been entertained, then use the link to find out how to donate a cup of coffee or 3 or 5, whatever you think today's show is worth to you. Okay then, next bit. Mistakes. What mistakes do people make often? You've talked about 1 or 2 already, and how can you avoid them? Apart from putting you in charge is the main solution.
Yeah, discussing, talking, not panicking. No, I said knowing, we spoke about knowing the sort of the economic liabilities of how far you should take an application, you know, and what it's going to cost you. You know, we personally here, if someone gets to that point where they have to put a hold on the application, then we evidently don't charge any more money if they have to do it till the next year. We just start again. We don't leave it 5 or 6 years because we might put our fees up by then. But, you know, the jokes aside, if you've got to put the application on hold, it just sits on hold until we're ready to go again. But other companies may have a charging structure, whereas if you tell them, actually, I'm not going to go ahead now to next year, we're going to park the documents, that you might be liable for another fee. So be careful of that. So that's the sort of the economic liability of ordering stuff. The other thing that we have is people who are, there are a lot of people on doing 90 180 when I switched to non-NLV and didn't realize, as we discussed before, that the 90 days I've already spent in the country is going to add to those days, which count towards the capital gains liability. So you have to really be careful with the days you spent in Spain in total in the year, albeit you weren't a resident, which I understand. Someone might think, hey, a minute, I was 2 weeks in January and thinking about a visa, then I've decided to go and get a visa and I've got one and I've come back to Spain, and that means that I could be liable for those days in January when I wasn't even in my head at that point. And unfortunately it's true, you know. And then
anything else?
So the other thing is just then the moving times, because obviously to beat the capital gains window, if you haven't spent any time in Spain at all, you could come in like mid-July or whatever. You know, I think it's July 7th or something, or July 3rd.
I think it's more like the 3rd or the 4th, I think.
3rd or 4th for some of you. But then also it's a terrible time to move to Spain and start looking for properties here and rentals, unless you've got that pre-planned. You know,
I found it best in sort of halfway through September. That's when properties start coming up for rental on the market again, because that's when the holiday lets start dipping off a bit, and landlords are looking for more long term. Mind you, that whole what do you call it? The landscape of lets is kind of changing at the moment, especially in certain areas, because there are a lot of the short-term lets have been taken away, so there might be more long-term lets this year going.
I think there may be. I mean, a lot of the short, so you say it depends where you're looking to let, but I think a lot of with the whole short-term thing, that was the whole idea of it, wasn't it? It was to get more long-term lets. So I think we've certainly seen, I don't know where you are, but certainly around here, and I always kept my eye the last year on the property market, because we were looking to buy, and everything went crazy. You know, everybody talks about craziness in the market, but the craziness is still there, but it's not moving anymore. So I think people have, you know, they've a lot of houses I've seen 6 months, 7 months on the market, and their crazy prices are still their crazy prices, but they're not selling. So maybe that will help towards the rental market as well. Who knows?
No, that's a good point. Yeah. Any other mistakes and problems that you've seen come up?
I suppose the other thing is, and talking to, you know, other tax advisors and stuff, is you've got to, it's not just the property, it really focuses on the property. You know, so everybody focuses, if you've got, you know, like, if you've got savings wrapped up in a product which needs to be drawn out in a tax-free environment before you become a fiscal resident somewhere else, you need to do that. So it's not just, you know, it's not just the capital gain on a property that could be a liability. It's everything else that you've built up during your whole lifetime. You know,
that's true. Yes. Yeah. People don't realise that. I think Lucia said that the last time she was on the show, and actually I think it's Lucia coming back on next week to do the financial show, so she'll be able to answer these kind of questions. But capital isn't just property, and a lot of people think it is. It's money you've got in the bank. It's anything you own, really. Well, the larger things, investments and that kind of thing.
I mean, and being a fiscal resident has all sorts of, you have to pay your tax return, you have the income, there could be income liabilities, there could be liabilities from, as I say, cash assets that you hold wrapped up in products. It's not just the money you're going to make on a capital gain on that asset. It could be any number of things. So certainly, even if you are looking at avoiding capital gains, it's certainly worth getting some sort of tax advice just to talk about the rest as well.
Yeah, this thing, people will want to draw down, a lump sum for their pension. And if you do that at the wrong time of the year and you fall into that trap, then you'll have to pay tax on that, even though it's supposed to be a tax-free lump sum. That's what they'd call it in the UK. But you'd be paying tax on it in Spain if you did the timing wrong.
Yeah.
So that's what as I say, I'm not an expert, but I've heard almost those exact words come from Lucia. So you can always ask her for confirmation next week when we see her.
Yeah, and then other people, you have other surprises their way around. So we had a client who sold a house, earned money, bought another house. They dealt with that money, and now they've decided they're going to move to Spain. And look at the timeline, they're worried about capital gains. When did you buy the house? Like, how much going to make? Oh, not this latest one. Not going to make. Okay, and I was like, well, you've got no capital gain because you wrapped up your fiscal affairs before, and it doesn't really matter when you sell this one because you've got no capital gain. So you need to focus on the rest of your income and savings, because the one that you've recently bought, which was your stopgap to move into Spain, the previous one where you made the capital gain, that's all we dealt with in the UK. The one you're currently in, you're lucky to make a couple of quid in it. So maybe if there is a capital gain liability, it won't be a problem.
Yes, indeed. Okay. Well, we've come to that's my last question on the board, and we're very early, which is all right. I'm not averse to finishing after 45 minutes. But if anybody's got any more questions, then do put them in the live chat, and we'll make sure we answer them before the end of the show. And excuse me, do we have any goodie bags? And is there anybody new on there? Trudy Ray, I think. I don't think I've heard her name before on the live chat, or at least not recently. So if you're still on, Trudy, if you're still listening in, then send Chris an email at youtube@upsticks.es and give him your details. He'll need a postal address. And and you'll get some prizes. What are you giving away at the moment?
Oh, for the UK, I'm afraid we have to stick to stuff which looks like letters, so fans, magnets, folders. And for Spain, we've got all sorts. We've got hats, we've got little wallets. I've been giving away wallets today at the police station, which put your TIE card in nicely.
Nice.
We've got bags, we've got a whole load of bags. We've got some really naff key rings, which I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with, so I won't give them to your viewers. I think they might go to a school run or something. They didn't turn out very well, but pens, all sorts going on.
Brilliant. Good. So shall we pick somebody else as well? Who else have we got there? Has Alexander Ballantyne had anything?
Don't worry about Alex. He's going to get loads of stuff. He's on board as a client.
And Judith Robinson?
Judith, I don't have on there, I think.
No. So send Chris an email, Judith, and we'll see what we can get for you. Yes, you may as well wait until you're here, seeing as you're moving this Wednesday. Brilliant. Have a good move. That's the thing to do. Hope it all goes well.
Hope that goes well. I wonder what your circumstances are with the look at Orihuela Town.
Oh, Trudy says thank you, will do. She's still listening. Excellent. You've been on for the whole show. Brilliant. So well, that feels like a lovely place to wrap things up. So first of all, thank you all for joining us, whether you're here live or whether you're watching back afterwards. It wouldn't be the same without you. Don't forget to join our Facebook page and Chris's Facebook page too to find out what's coming up in the videos and live shows. And let's give a huge virtual kiss and a hug to our wonderful guest, Chris from Upsticks. We'll see you. It's 3 weeks until we see you.
3 weeks.
Yes, because you've done 2 in a row, and that'll be Monday the 16th of March.
Wow.
When we'll be talking about something else. We have no idea yet. And Ant and Kez say, We're still watching currently a la Mesa Greek Messes tonight with a nice glass of Saint-Emilion. Lovely. I like Greek food. I haven't had Greek. Where's the? Are there any? There must be some Greek food places in Malaga, Chris. I've not.
Torre del Mar was the last time I went to a Greek restaurant. Torre del Mar, not far from you. They did a lovely menu of the day. It was something like €12. So check it out. Look, I'll send you the link.
Brilliant.
I think I did a short video there on my YouTube channel somewhere. But yeah, we just came across it last year when we had a sneaky night away from the kids when my parents were here looking after them.
Brilliant.
And had a €12 menu of the day.
I'm going to be in Torre del Mar on Wednesday, but we're going to having a meeting with some musicians. There's something in the offing. I'll tell you more about that another time once it comes up, but it's going to be a little bit eccentric, a little bit crazy. Yeah, good for that. So Patrick Connell says, take care, guys. And Adiba Twig Organic Wellness says, thank you. And thank you to all of you too. So until next week, when I think it's Lucia Melgarejo from Black Tower Financial Management is with us. But check up on Facebook during the week, and I'll just confirm that, and we'll confirm exactly what she's going to be talking about. Until then, someone pass around the capital gains cookies and peas and fluff, my friends, and I'll leave you all with a message from the voices in my head here at YouTooSpain. So bye-bye for now. Wave goodbye, lads. Bye. Goodbye. Toodaloo. Peace and love. Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. One more cosmic dance? All right, then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver. Let's dance.